Well, welcome tonight to Straight Talk, the night, today, or whatever time it is. Well, welcome. Shanan and I are glad to be here with you with nothing but straight talk. And we got some straight talk tonight. We're going to be talking about Fani Willis, Judge McAfee, and Trump's attorneys and how they're trying to stall the stall taxes. But anyway, Shanan, you got anything you're going to say before we go to Miss C and Mr. Popop?
No, I'm not gonna get in place of Miss C. I'm glad to be with you tonight. And hello, Straight Talk. Let's get to Miss C. Let's get to Miss C.
There we go, Miss C. We're coming to you right now. Don't forget to check us out though on every Sunday night, 7 p.m. WIGO 1570 AM dial. Share it, won't you?
Hey, Miss C here with your 3-minute news blast. Listen, Dunson Dental Design is offering free dental services during their free dentistry weekend. That's April the 19th through the 21st at Smile Source Atlanta East, 1147 South Harrison Road in Stone Mountain. That's Suite A. These free dental services are being offered are simple extractions, resin fillings, deep cleaning, that's scaling and root planning, and regular cleanings. You must call and schedule a pre-screening today at 404-897-1699 or 678-515-4200. Free exams and x-rays will be performed prior to you receiving treatment. Now, understand that a $50 deposit is required to guarantee your appointment, but you will receive that $50 back upon completion of successful treatment. That's free dental services. Now, if you've been needing your teeth worked on, you needed some dental work, here's your chance for free dental services that's going to be going on April 19th through the 21st at Smile Source Atlanta East, 1147 South Harrison Road, and it's being sponsored by Dunson Dental Design. All right, Alter Dementia Summit. The Role of the Black Church will be presented April 25th through the 27th, 2024 at House of Hope Atlanta in Decatur. To register, log on to www.alterdementia.com. That's alterdementia.com. That's ALTERDEMENTIA.com. And when you log on, you'll see the register icon right at the top of the screen. Okay? And listen, there are 4 things I'd like for you to do for me. Hold on, let me get my paper so that I don't mess up. Okay, hold on. Anyway, I'm going to get it right one day. I need for you to subscribe. I need for you to, well, let me go back. I need for you to like us. I need for you to subscribe. I need for you to comment and share us. Those 4 things, we would really appreciate if you did that. And you should see those on your phone. You should see the icons right there to like and subscribe. Okay? All right. And listen, if you have any announcements that you'd like for me to air, please email them to me at straighttalknews1362@gmail.com. See you next time.
This is Michael Popak with a Legal AF Hot Take coming out of Georgia. Criminal court judge McAfee is not going to stop the wheels of justice and stop the proceedings in Georgia just because a fair amount of the defendants are going to appeal right now in an interlocutory appeal, which I'll explain, his order from last week keeping Fani Willis on the case as the prosecutor for Fulton County, as long as she fired, which she did, Nathan Wade resigned as her special prosecutor, thus resolving the appearance of a conflict that the judge found. Knowing that the defendants, including Donald Trump and Mike Roman and their lawyers, are going to take the appeal, the judge, yes, has certified the appeal, allowing them to do so. Judge has to do that. A trial judge has to do that because this is an interlocutory appeal, meaning it's not happening at the end of the case where generally appeals happen. Appellate courts, state and federal, don't generally like interlocutory appeals that happen during the course of a case before its conclusion, because they like to handle all appellate issues, all error issues, all reversible error in one fell swoop at the end of a case. And they don't like to be bothered in between. There are some issues that come up, and we've discussed them on Legal AF and on hot takes like this one, including like immunity for Donald Trump. That's another example of an interlocutory appeal. Now, in that case, because of the nature of immunity, that did stop the case in its tracks, which I'm sure is the reason that Scott McAfee is letting the world know that his case is not about immunity and not about that type of defense that divests his court of jurisdiction. And he intends to continue with the myriad of other motions and other proceedings in front of him that he will address in due course, even while the appeal is pending. Because there's three different scenarios here, none of which seem to concern Scott McAfee. The appellate courts could decline to take appellate jurisdiction because they don't want to take an interlocutory appeal on this issue. It's a discretionary, not an appeal as of right, meaning the appellate court has to approve it. They could take one look at it and say, well, there's not enough serious questions here. There's not enough issues that concern us. We're not going to allow the appeal at this time. We'll see at the end of the case. That's one. Two, they could grant the appeal, but keep it on a normal track, meaning that appellate issue could go on for over a year. Or three, they could grant the appeal, but they could expedite it, meaning they could require quick briefing of the issue, a fast oral argument, and make their decision. Scott McAfee has said, I don't care which of the three scenarios happen in his new order. I don't care whether you get the appeal, they grant you the right to appeal, they grant you an expedited appeal, or it's on a normal track. I am not staying my proceedings. They are going to move forward. The wheels of justice are going to move forward, right? He said in his order, I have a lot of motions in front of me that need orders. I've got, there's at least like a half a dozen motions to dismiss about the merits of the indictment and other alleged prosecutorial misconduct that he has to address. And he says, I'm going to address all the other motions. He says, citing case law, that the supersedious, meaning the stay of the case or the stop of the case or the appeal issue, is only on one issue. On everything else that's not subject to a supersedious event at the appellate level, I'm going to make my decision on issues that have nothing to do with whether Fani Willis had a conflict of interest because of a relationship she had with her special prosecutor. He's right about that. Now, with one caveat, could the appellate court grant a stay and force the trial judge to stand down? Yes. What Scott McAfee is signaling here is he's not going to grant a stay. Like, don't even ask me for a stay. I'm not granting a stay. I am moving and progressing this over almost 2-year-old case forward. And if you don't like it, then go to my bosses at the appellate court, the one that sits over Fulton County, Georgia, and then ultimately the Supreme Court of Georgia, and get a stay. But I'm not giving you one. I'm going to continue to rule on issues. The prosecutor is going to continue to represent the people of the state of Georgia and in Fulton County as the elected constitutional officer to be the Fulton County prosecutor. She's done what I've asked her to do. She's resolved the appearance of impropriety and the conflict of interest that I determined existed after hearing 3 days of evidence. And she's done that by accepting the resignation of Nathan Wade, and I'm moving on. And the rest of you better come along with me, because and don't try to take the game ball home with you, because we continue. And so I wanted to give here, as part of this analysis, this breaking news analysis, what happened and what happens next. What's going to happen next is Trump, Mike Roman, the others are going to now, with the certification, ask for the appellate court to grant them the right to have an appeal. They don't have an appeal as of right. There are certain types of appeals that you automatically have without having to ask for the court to exercise appellate jurisdiction. This is not one of them. So they're going to have to ask for it in briefing. They're going to ask for, I'm sure, for a stay. They're going to say, Judge McAfee's not staying the case. We're being irreparably harmed. We're being injured. We're being prejudiced. It can't be fixed in the future. Our justice rights, our due process rights, and the like. And the appellate court that sits over Fulton County, the intermediary appellate court, because there's always 2 levels of appellate court in most states, is going to have to make a ruling on that. And a ruling on whether this has to be stayed. I don't see the grounds, if I were the appellate judge, to stay the rest of the proceedings because they're trying to sort out who the prosecutor is. It doesn't, the merits are being decided by the judge, right? Sure, Fani Willis's team is going to be on the other side arguing, but the law is the law and the facts are the facts, and the judge in the black robe makes the decisions. So I don't see how they're being compromised or have their due process rights undermined, even if they were eventually successful in removing Fani Willis, to have certain motions now decided by the judge. And so I think they're going to be hard pressed to make a compelling good faith argument as to why this issue of her removal has to be decided right now and everything else has to stop. But they'll ask for that. I think it gets denied. I think the judge, McAfee, continues to progress the case, administer the case, and issue rulings seriatim, one after another, on all the rest of the motions and get them all cleared away. The way we're seeing Judge Rashan, a more experienced, I almost said educated, a more experienced judge in New York is doing with the Stormy Daniels case as it prepares for trial in April. Clear away the motions one at a time. You can do it in one big order, or more likely, given his rules of his chambers, his court rules, he'll do them one by one. All right, issue the 6 or 7 motions. We already know McAfee 2 weeks ago dismissed 6 of the 41 counts, including a couple against Donald Trump. Fani Willis has a choice now that she has now survived the motion to disqualify as to whether she's going to re-impanel the grand jury and try to re-indict on 2 of the counts that Donald Trump had dismissed, including a standalone count related to his phone call to the Secretary of State to try to overturn the will of the election, the will of the people and the election results. She's got to make that decision. It's going to be her decision to make. That's what they're worried about, that she's going to continue to make major decisions in the case as the prosecutor because she is the prosecutor. And so they're worried about that. So she'll have to make that decision. If she's not going to do that, she's just going to take her lumps and say, all right, I got 35 other counts. I'm just going to go after them, including the racketeering, influence, and corrupt organization count, the RICO conspiracy count, which is at the heart, the driver of her indictment. It still survives, right? And so she's going to have to make that decision. That'll get decided in yes, I have a dog in the background. That'll get decided in due course. And then from there, the decisions are going to have to be made by the judge on that. And then the judge is going to have to set a trial date. At the rate we're going, just to manage expectations, the trial date in Georgia is either going to be late summer, right? The dog days of summer, given my dog in the background, or not until after the election. And even if it starts, Fani Willis is on record as saying it's an 8-month to a year trial. So the Georgia trial is never going to finish before the election. That's why the election November 5th is so important. Because if Donald Trump wins, he's going to get a court to order that even the state cases get stayed while he's president. So he's quote unquote not distracted by these matters. And then he'll have to pick up again when he's 85 years old if he were somehow to win the election. If he loses the election, of course, he doesn't have that defense, which is the reason why he's running for office. He would not, I assure you, he would not be running for office if he was not looking down the barrel of 4 criminal indictments and civil cases related to what happened on Jan 6th and his role in trying to overthrow democracy.
Well, we're back. Shannon and I are back with you right now after the Miss C and all the news information. Hey, listen, you need the dental cleaning. Hey, call those numbers. Hey, and don't forget, pastors, we need for you to get involved in dementia, learning more about dementia, and register and get your members to register. We all are suffering with those issues in our churches and in our families. Won't you do that? Well, Shannon, we're back on this side, and we'll talk about what Mr. Pope was talking about. Judge McAfee has allowed Trump's attorneys to appeal his decision in terms of Fani Willis staying on the case. Did Willis staying on the case? Boy. He says, okay, first he says, well, I agree with Ms. Willis can't stay on the case. Only she or if she and Mr. Wade want to stay on the case, then I'm going to remove her from it. But if Mr. Wade is moved from the case, then she can't stay on. What do you think about that? What are your thoughts on that, Shannon?
Well, let me just say that it just seems to me that this is a young judge too. We got to remember that. So this is a lot of weight to be putting on a 34, 35-year-old judge. I mean, he's only right now the judge over what I would Even with all the other trials that are going on, with Trump losing all his money, I mean, those are massive undertakings. But with this trial, it literally says that he tried to steal an election, and not he alone, but all of these other co-defendants. So there's a lot of weight put on this very young judge, and I think that he is giving at least the appearance that he's trying to be fair, and as a judge should be impartial. And we got to remember that this judge is also, Bishop, that he's running for re-election currently. Right now, he was appointed to this position by Georgia Governor Brian Kemp, but he must run for re-election or for election to actually be elected to the position. So this is an appointed judge that's dealing with this. And I think that after I looked at the ruling, listen, they hit. I would argue that the motion was a motion on an unrelated case to the trial, and there's several of such. And he's trying to hear these motions. So this was just this was a strategy that the defense put up, Mr. Sadow and several others put up to try to knock D.A. Willis and her team off the horse. And so what the judge said was, listen, there was some mistakes in your code of conduct as the elected district attorney. You handled yourself unprofessionally in the meeting, in the hearing on the stand. But he also said that he did not find their argument to hold merit. But he did find that there was perhaps of the optics of an improper and unfair relationship to the citizens of Fulton County and the taxpayers of Fulton County and the state of Georgia. And so he said, one of you have to go, and I'm going to make that decision. And so he could have he could have just removed the district attorney from this, but he did not do this. So I came all the way around to say that I believe what I would believe to be a fair judgment, given the climate that centers around all of this. Somebody had to fall on the sword here, and I didn't think it would be the district attorney between the two of them.
Well, one of the things that I like from his ruling, unlike with Judge Chuckin, which is a federal case, the appeal courts have now holding up on whether or not Trump has immunity or not. So her case cannot move forward until the federal appeal court, the Supreme Court rather, rule on whether or not Donald Trump has immunity, right? But what he
Yes.
said, what we're going to do is we're going to let you appeal it, but we're not going to stop this case. We're going to
No.
move forward this case. We're going to listen to the motions that you're presenting. We're going to get those motions aside. And if, in fact, if the appeal court come back and say, okay, you're right, perhaps she should have been removed, then we'll deal with that at that time. But if they don't, we would already be down the road in terms of moving forward this case. So he's looking at moving the case forward, and I commend him for that. And that he is trying to get some conclusion to the matter in terms of whether or not Mr. Trump and his cohorts should be prosecuted and convicted on the charges that are presented. Now, last week we talked about this in terms of Trump and how many charges they had. They dropped. They said 6, no, one 6, just 3. So now he's down to what? 10 charges, but he still got 10 charges.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well,
he's
actually,
still.
but yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I mean in Fulton County. So I mean in the
Right.
racketeering charges, he's still dealing with the Calder Rassenberger because that's a part of the racketeer charges. So that's the case is moving forward, even with those people who were working for with representatives here in the state of Georgia who conspired to change the people who were duly elected or appointed to cast the votes to the to certify that Biden was in fact carrying the votes for the state of Georgia, the ones that he was asking for that 11,000 and something odd vote. So here we are now, the young judge, as you said, a young judge who has made a decision, and his decision is let's move forward with this trial. Let's move forward with trial. You got 6 motions before me, and probably going to be some more coming. I'm going to wrestle each motion that you have, and then I'm going to determine whether it's valid or whether it's not valid. But we're going to move this trial forward and let the appeal court of Georgia determine whether or not Ms. Willis should or should not be on this case. So I think if we look he split the baby. He said, okay, if it's your baby, then okay, then here we
Right.
are. Then whoever the mother is of the baby, I'm gonna split this baby in half and give you half and give you the other half. And the real mother stood up and said, no, 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 no. Let
No.
her have it because it's actually really my baby, but she can have it. And the lady said, no, just split the baby, just split the baby. She didn't care because it wasn't her baby no way. I mean, and we
And the
start
judge
looking at
knew.
what's going on. What's going on is that they just continue with the late tactics and the late tactics, and they're doing it everywhere. But Trump got money, and the money is affording him the opportunity, or allegedly have money, affording him the money, or people giving him the money, affording him the opportunity to come with all these late tactics and pay all these lawyers this money. So that's my analysis of the paralysis right now, Shannon.
And it's
Anything else
some
you want to say
paralysis
about
for
that?
real. It's some paralysis for real. Well, Ms. Popeye already said that that this case wouldn't be. We're talking about delay tactics. This case wouldn't be heard until the dog days of summer. So it'll be deep down into summer when
Right.
this case will be held. But I want to go back to this young judge, and because this certificate of immediate review that he allowed for the appeal to be able to come, while he said that we're going to continue to keep moving with these unrelated pending pretrial motions that they keep throwing at him to try to slow down, but basically a bunch of legal tactics that are born out of the ultimate political strategy, which is to slow this thing down, which he explained that because we can slow this down if Trump is elected, then he can go to the federal judge and say, look, I just need this held because I can't have this hanging over me while I'm trying to be the commander in chief of the military and the leader of the free world, the president of the United States. So I need this to go away. We can pick this back up in 4 years when I'm 85 years old and living in Russia. Did I say that? I didn't mean to say that. I didn't.
Listen, what you just said is I got some clips I want to show next week of the gentleman who testified at the January 16th committee, who was a part of the Ukraine thing on Biden's son, right? Who talked about how Trump and Giuliani conspired and got him to conspire and got information from Russia to get media to get out to the media, and the only media that did it was Fox Media, and Trump was a part of that, and Giuliani was a part of that, and they was getting information from the Kremlin to spread gossip or misinformation about Biden's son rather, to the January, the committee that was coming against Biden's son, right?
Special committee
So we
investigating Biden's son.
Biden's son, yes, but I want Biden and his son. But I want to say, just throw it out because you said it, because Trump is tied to Russia, and I'm going to show that next week. We're going to show that next week how Trump is tied to Russia and how Trump has been tied to Russia, and that's why Trump won't want to be a dictator, because him and Putin are the best of friends. So do you want a democracy? Do you want to have a dictatorship? That's the question.
That's
But
absolutely the question. But the thing is that the judge allowing this to happen, no judge wants to be reversed. But this judge said, look, I'll allow you to do it. We're going to keep moving. We're not going to stop unless the appeals court says that we have to stop. So it's just interesting to see how this case is moving. So there, there's some politics. There's a whole lot of politics in this. But that Judge Scott McAfee realizes that he's on a slippery slope here, and he has to be elected in Fulton County against this very popular Fulton County District Attorney. And it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But he could have gotten rid of her, and he did not. He didn't do that. But they're going to keep coming, keep moving, because they're going to try to stall this thing completely out until Trump does what he does and ends up going to where we believe. And both of us, half jokingly, believe that I believe that he's gonna get on Air Force One, and it's gonna take him to Trump One, and Trump One is gonna be going straight to St. Petersburg, not Florida, but St. Petersburg, Russia. That's what I believe.
Well, hey, you said it. I mean, people got to open up, because it's not about the people. It's really about him. He's shown that he's not loyal to people. He's not loyal to the people who have been loyal to him. His running mate, Pence, has said that he will not endorse him. He will not support him, because he worked closely with him and he was loyal to him. And this same Donald Trump, because Pence would not violate his oath of office and do what Trump wanted him to do, which was illegal. And he said, I can't do it. I'm not going to do it. And he said, you won't be nothing no more, because you won't do what I asked you to do. Because he wanted him to do what Michael Cohen did, and others have done, is to do his bidding, whether it was right or whether it was wrong, because it was really all about, it is all about Donald J. Trump.
He's an autocrat. He's an autocrat. Yes, sir. Yep,
Well,
absolutely.
Shannon, we have some time here. We got about 4 minutes here that we can discuss some other things that's in the news or that's happening around here, even in Fulton County, with the attacks that's taking place against certain political people and character assassination of people here that are political figures that's going on, such as the attack that's going on against Natalie Hall. And I want to just throw that out because, the Bible says all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. And Jesus said, and we're preachers, you and I both are preachers. And Jesus said this when they brought the woman in very act of adultery. I'm talking to the act of adultery. And they were saying, what does Moses' law say? Moses' law says she must be stoned to death, right? That's a political decision, right? Stoned her to death. But what did Jesus do? He just not even looked up. He wrote on the ground. He said, he that was sin cast what? The first stone. So we have to understand that all of us have had a lapse in judgment. You, I, all of us. And sometimes people forget their lapse in judgment and they want to cast judgment on other people. But when you have people who have had a lapse in judgment, but those who are in the house of faith, we're supposed to redeem them and reclaim them, not because of their indiscretion or what they've done, but what good are they doing for the overall good of the community and the people. People following Donald Trump. Donald Trump said what? He said, I can kill somebody. His own attorney said he could kill somebody and nothing would happen to him. He said he could grope women, and he did grope women, and nothing happened to him. But yet we want to ostracize Sister Hall and make her look bad when she's done nothing but good work for the Fulton County citizens in her district and Fulton County citizens at large. And I just wanted to throw that out, Shannon, before we close out. We got about a minute now. If you want to make a comment on that, and we can end out.
No, I think that you hit it spot on. He who is without sin, and notice what it said. You who are without sin, cast the first stone. It'd be interesting. You know, we wouldn't throw away a surgeon that we needed for a critical surgery. You would not throw away someone that could protect you from whatever danger that you would be in, but you would be willing to throw away this county commissioner because of her having a consensual relationship with someone and then the relationship ending and she no longer wanting that person to work on her staff anymore. And then he goes and tells everything that consensually they did and trumps it up as though he was the victim. It's unfortunate, but the reality of it is that Natalie Hall has done great work in Fulton County, and we need her to continue to keep doing it. When we went outside and slept out to be in solidarity with the homeless, Natalie Hall gave us tents and gave us sleeping bags to sleep in. And she's been doing that, covering us for a long time. And I want to make sure she can keep doing it.
Well, thank you, and thank those of you who are listening and on WIGO 1570 on your AM dial, and those of you watching on YouTube. Hey, don't like us, make comments, subscribe, and share. And we'll see you next week right here on Street Talk with your truly great fan, preacher man, and Shanan E. Jones. But this ain't been nothing but what, Shanan? Straight
Straight
talk.
talk.
Want to be a guest on Straight Talk? Email Greg Fann at FANN922 at Comcast.net or call 404-308-0795. Join us again for another episode of Straight Talk with Shanan Jones and Greg Fann, the Preacher Man.